We would like you to be seated. And we'd like to introduce the folks that are here tonight, both the people that have been inducted and those representing them. And we'd ask you to hold your applause until we have called all of their names. Thank you. Paul Bardo, Doug Hunt, Rick Mannon, Barb Hannum, Bob Ian, Pat Shushuk, Rod Davidson, Neil Young, that's good, Kathy Mitchell, Carol Vipond, Paul Wilson, Bob McGeehan, John Howe, Peter Ham, Pat Woodburn, Lonnie Maish, Sean Drummy representing Jack Shuchuk, Jeff Lee, and Jay Wells. Welcome to everybody. Before we begin, I have an acknowledgement to make. We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is situated upon treaty lands and territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe. The Haudenosaunee Five-Nation Confederacy made a peace treaty with the Mississaugas of the Credit and their allies to share the land and waters north and west of Lake Ontario. Both peoples endorse the Haudenosaunee metaphor, a dish with one spoon, which means a land where both could hunt, fish, gather, and cultivate freely and peacefully. Today, the land remains and is a home to many Indigenous people, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in this community with the Six Nations of the Grand River and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We also acknowledge that the settler population has been able to benefit from this beautiful land. Thank you. In a very short time, we're going to have a moment of silence, but before we do, I would like to share a little bit of information about the two people that we are honoring today. Since our last ceremony, we have lost two former induction committee members and great city ambassadors. The first, Ted Dakota, was born in East Douglas, Massachusetts on February 19th, 1927, and passed in Hamilton, September 5th, 2023. Accomplishments included the president of the Board of Trade, the chairman of the fundraising committee for the Civic Center back in the 60s, a founding member of Brantford Minor Sports, the chair of the Canadian Games for the physically disabled. He was named Citizen of the Year, and when he left town, he was given the key to the city. Robbie Vipond and his lovely wife Carol is here tonight, a wife of 63 years. Robbie passed away on May 2nd, 2024 in his 84th year. A local legend playing over 20 years in the senior inter-county, mostly for his beloved Brantford Red Sox. He was part of the 1959-63 five-straight title championship team. He played defense for the Brantford Bears in 1968, which was the first team to win a title at our new Civic Center at the time. He volunteered for the Alzheimer's Society, Brant Figure Skating, and he received an award of excellence in football as a referee. Pound for pound and inch for inch, one of our city's greatest and most tenacious athletes. Please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. Just before we start the proceedings with our speakers from the political world or their representatives, I would just like to say last year when I stood on this stage at the end, I did let the people know that we're here year in and year out, that I was retired from doing this position. But as Mark Twain once said, the report of my death has been grossly exaggerated. When I call for the political representatives to come up, would you please come up to the stage and offer some greetings? We'll begin with Teresa Percival on behalf of MP Larry Brock.
Good evening, everyone. So thank you so much for the kind invitation to be here tonight. As Ross said, unfortunately, our MP, Larry Brock, was not able to be here. He is in Ottawa fulfilling his parliamentary duties. Parliament is still in session, and so he has asked me to come and express his regrets, but also to share a few words with you. So I'm very happy to be here on his behalf to congratulate tonight's honorees and inductees into the Brantford and Area Sports Hall of Recognition. Our Brantford community boasts a rich and storied history in the world of organized sports, producing a long list of athletes who have achieved true greatness. Tonight, we are fortunate to add 5 more deserving recipients into the Sports Hall. These athletes and coaches have aspired to the pinnacle of their sport and let nothing stand in their way, and have carried an uncompromising level of commitment and passion to their chosen sport. It is fitting that their stories and the stories of those who have helped make their success possible be proudly showcased in Brantford's Wayne Gretzky Sports Centre, our premier athletic facility. You have all given back to your community through coaching and mentorship to our upcoming athletes, and who will perhaps one day also adorn the walls of the Sports Hall. And for that, we are truly grateful and thank you for continually giving back and helping others achieve their dreams. Lastly, I'd like to thank the committee for organizing tonight's event and for choosing tonight's deserving recipients. So congratulations to all, thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Teresa. I would now ask Alexandra Novakovic to come up and speak on behalf of Will Buma.
Hello, everyone. MPP Bama intended to be here this evening, however, was detained in a government meeting in Toronto. He sends his regrets. Please accept MPP Bama's sincere congratulations on being recognized as an honoree or inductee this evening. Your contribution to the legacy of sport in the community is to be commended. MPP Bama would tell you that he is so very glad that we celebrate sport because you have to have a healthy mind, body, and spirit. And sporting activities in communities are an integral part of that. Congratulations once again.
I'd like to invite Linda Hunt to come up and speak on behalf of Mayor Kevin Davis.
Hello, everyone, and I didn't ramp the stage, so hopefully those of you in the back can see me. I'm Councillor Linda Hunt. I'm representing Mayor Kevin Davis, and Kevin is actually away on vacation, so very pleased to bring greetings on behalf of the Mayor and City Council. I'd also like to recognize Councillor Michael Sullivan, who's also in attendance this evening. It's such a pleasure to see so many people here, previous inductees, and I love the bagpipes. I'm Scottish, so that was a special treat to get here and see them warming up in the parking lot, and then having the inductees piped in. So congratulations to all of you on your achievements and being inducted into the hall. To this year's class, congratulations. For the work that you've done in your various sports. And I want to give a special shout out to my friend Garrett, who is a Paralympian, and as a person with a disability, I do follow the Paralympic team, so it was also my pleasure to have Garrett recognized by Brantford City Council just last year on his silver medal at the Paralympics. So again, on behalf of Brantford City Council and Mayor Kevin Davis, congratulations to all of the inductees, this year's class and our previous inductees, and my thanks to all of the volunteers. I'm well aware that such things like this cannot happen with a great group of volunteers and committee members, so thank you to you as well.
Thanks, Lola. I don't have very good vision, but I just spotted Captain Canada, Aaron Carpenter, arrive. Thank you for wearing the red coat so I could see Aaron. Okay, I hope that the representatives that were here to speak on behalf of their mayors or MP or MPP or Six Nations have all had an opportunity. I was informed that a couple of our people who we're going to introduce have not arrived, so I'm not sure. So please shout if there's anybody else here to speak on anybody's behalf. Okay, thank you. Now we're to the meat and potatoes of the show, and it's the introduction of the inductees. And just a kind reminder that each presenter has 2 minutes to speak, and I have an egg timer. And the person accepting has 5 minutes, or whatever they like, okay? Most of them don't speak for 5 minutes. They want to get in and get out. Our first guest coming to the stage this evening is Steve Tallis. And I mentioned the 2-minute egg timer because Steve is a former history teacher. And he's got 120 seconds for the math guys. So Steve's going to speak on behalf of the Yates Cup and Henry Bridges Yates. Come on up, Steve.
Is everybody feeling relaxed this evening? Enjoying yourself? I prepared a few notes, okay, to give a bit of an introduction to my honoree. First thing I have to say to the committee is that when I was in grade 8, I won a crest for being on a relay team. And it set a record for a long time. So I don't know if that qualifies me for next year, but just keep it in the back of your mind when I apply, okay? So, and I still have that crest, I can prove it to you, okay? The first thing I'd like to do, though, is introduce somebody very special, and that's Henry Yates, the grandson of Henry Bridges Yates. Henry, would you please stand because of the Yates Cup being inducted? And it was his great-grandfather, Henry Rushton Yates. So there's Henry Rushton Yates, Henry Bridges Yates, and Henry Yates. So they couldn't find any other names but Henry. So, okay. So anyways, the first thing I'd like to say is about Henry Bridges Yates. Most of the information, by the way, is in your program. But he was a very important person because as a builder, and we realize that builders make great buildings. Henry Bridges Yates was a great builder because he encouraged young men, okay, at McGill University to play football. He was actually on the football team, which was more like rugger at that time, but he donated the Yates Cup, just like the Stanley Cup and the Grey Cup. And it kind of grew and grew and grew, and it's the longest trophy given in athletics in all of North America, more so than the Grey Cup and the Stanley Cup. So he was a builder. And one of the great things he did when he went over to France during World War I, he organized the soldiers there to play baseball, okay? To take their mind off of the war. And consequently, ever since then, except during the war periods, the Yates Cup has been given since 1898. Henry Bridges Yates created an environment, a venue for great athletes, okay, to play football. And you're going to meet one of those great coaches who headed up some great teams in just a few minutes, because I also have to introduce that person. So anyways, I feel very honored as being the owner of Yates Castle, as most people call it, because Henry Rushton Yates constructed Yates Castle. So it's been in our family since 1920, but it's a tremendous honor to be here, to be part of the Yates family and the induction of Henry Bridges Yates into the Brantford Sports Hall of Recognition. How did I do, Ross?
You were great.
Oh, was I great? Okay. All right. And Greg, just a reminder of that crest, okay? Okay, keep that in mind. The next person I want to introduce, if anyone is familiar with football, they are terrorized by the name of Greg Marshall, okay? Absolutely terrorized. Greg Marshall, by the way, if I was to read all the accolades and tributes and awards that Greg has received over the years, it would take me hours and hours and hours. I'm limited, what, 2 minutes? 5 minutes?
You're down to 48 seconds.
Well, okay, first, okay.
It's an overage charge. Where's the egg time?
But there's just a couple of things. I mean, you can read on Wikipedia all of the accolades, the awards that Greg has received over time. He started out as a football player for University of Western Ontario. And for that year, he was given the trophy player, the Creighton Trophy, for the most spectacular football player in varsity football. And Greg has been recognized as the coach of the year. By the way, he played as a running back for, the Edmonton Eskimos? Is that correct? Thanks, Greg. Okay. And so he's been coaching at Western on and off. And by the way, there's a couple of things I do want to tell about Greg as far as the coaching career. McMaster was the worst varsity football team that ever took the gridiron. Like, absolutely terrible, okay? So anyways, Greg was hired to be the coach there. And within 2 years, they ended up winning the Yates Cup, okay? Pretty spectacular. But the greatest achievement of all for Greg Marshall, I said to Greg when I went to see him with Ron Burkett, I said, Greg, of all the awards, of all the accolades, of all the trophies that you've received over the years, what is the greatest achievement or the most significant event in your career? And this will tell you a lot about Greg Marshall and why he has winning teams. And you've won the Yates Cup how many times? 22 times? 22 times they've won the Yates Cup. University of Western Ontario. By the way, my university, okay? So anyways, so Greg said to me, you know what? He said, that's an easy question to answer. He said, I have 2 sons who played on the Western football team. 3 on the Western football team when he was coaching. And you might have to correct my story because my marbles get scrambled when you get a little older. Okay. But he said 2 of his sons, scored? Oh, they all 3 scored? Geez, I missed one there someplace. Okay. So 3 of his sons scored during a football game for the Yates Cup, right? Yeah. He said that was the greatest triumph of his life. Okay? A father first, a coach second. And it's been a great honor to speak with Greg. I mean, he's the most humble person you could ever meet, besides myself, okay? All right? But Greg is the most wonderful person. We've had a long talk. And so I'd like you to greet Greg as he comes up here to speak.
Wow, you left me about 10 seconds. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, 3 sons, all scored. I was calling the plays. So, you know, maybe I got my youngest son Tommy a touchdown near the end just to, I think I could have scored one too. But first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to your Hall of Recognition induction banquet. I want to, first of all, congratulate all the inductees and honorees on your very well-deserved induction into the Brantford Sports Hall of Recognition. Special thanks again to Steve and his work to have Dr. Henry Yates honored tonight. And I am pleased to be able to speak about the Yates Cup and honoring Dr. Henry Bridges Yates, who donated the Yates Cup in 1898. As Steve mentioned, Henry was the captain of the McGill football team while he was completing his medical degree there. The Yates, the oldest trophy in North America, is now awarded to the football champion in Ontario University Athletics. What this trophy really represents is the pursuit of excellence, the collective work and effort that individuals and teams put in to compete in the sport of football. I've been fortunate to be part of a team that's won this trophy 22 times. 4 of them were at McMaster, so I mean, we're all Western. Got to put that plug in for Mac. I had a great time when I was at McMaster. I've competed as a player, an assistant coach, and a head coach. Throughout my career in athletics, I've learned that it's not about winning games and trophies. Through sport, we learn about the importance of hard work, perseverance, and so many other skills that carry over into our life. We learn in sport that sometimes we win and sometimes we lose. That's life. I tell my players all the time after a tough loss, remember, it's just a game. That there's going to be some time in your life that something a lot worse than losing a football game is going to happen to you. And then the next morning, you're going to have to get out of bed, all right, and be a good husband, be a good father, go to work. One of the most valuable lessons that we learn through sports is the importance of team and teamwork. In sport, we learn to be respectful and inclusive of everyone on our team. We learn about putting the goals of the team ahead of our own personal goals, and we learn to be caring and compassionate teammates. These lessons carry over into our lives. We learn to be good mothers and fathers, good neighbors and coworkers, and giving back to the community. Teamwork and building a culture of hard work, respect, and inclusion doesn't happen because I get up in front of our team and make a speech and talk about it. That only happens in movies. It happens by working at it every single day, during practice, training sessions, games, and by spending quality time together. Dr. Yates took the lessons he learned in sport and gave back by serving his country as a medical doctor in World War I. While overseas, as Steve said, he organized football and baseball games for his troops. He knew that the lessons of sport, building a culture of team or a band of brothers, would carry over onto the battlefield. Henry Yates donated a silver cup that bears his name, but it's what it represents that makes it so special. The Yates Cup represents all the great things that make sport in Canada and here in Brantford so valuable in our lives. It is something that should be promoted and celebrated as we are here tonight. Sports build strong people, and strong people build great Canadian communities like Brantford, Ontario. I want to thank you, the committee, all the inductees, for allowing me to be part of your special celebration here this evening. Thanks.
Sorry, I can't just let this one get away. Greg, I'm a Laurier grad. You ruined many of my Saturday afternoons when either your Mac Marauders or your Western Mustangs eliminated my Golden Hawks. So welcome to Brantford, buddy. But on another note, Greg, your career is absolutely impressive. To be a Coach of the Year in the OUAA multiple times, the CIS, the CFL, over 20 championships, a Heck Crichton. That's incredible. Congratulations to you, and thank you for sharing with us. Mr. Yates, Mr. McGeehan would like to present you with the trophy, the Yates Cup.
It's our induction.
It's a replica.
It's a replica.
He's coming to you, sir.
Well, it's my honor to be at this distinguished event this evening. I didn't know that I was going to be front and center, but here I am. And I want to thank Bob and the others very much for this. I'm going to call it the Yates Cup. It's not made of sterling silver, but it's very nice indeed. I'll just be brief. I never had the pleasure of knowing my grandfather because he died about 20 years before I was born. And he always had a great interest in sports, particularly amateur sports. And he was a great organizer, and he's a very kind man. And I learned a lot about my grandfather from my father. So I would say that I'm very happy that my grandfather is being inducted tonight. I'm sure that he would be delighted to be a part of this event. Thank you.
Now, where were we? On a personal note, I wish to commend Sandy and Rick for giving the sport of volleyball a club opportunity in our community. I know in speaking with my daughter Erica, she mentioned to me that if it had been available to her, basketball, softball, and rugby would have taken a back seat. And now her daughter is playing competitive volleyball in Leaside, so I might see the Beatums on the trail along the way. I also had the opportunity to coach two of the Beatum children at PDHS, Brittany, who was a city champ in discus, and Tyler, who was a four-time team cross-country champ, and he continued on at college. And I would like to now invite Andrew and Abby to the stage to introduce the Beatums.
So there's two of us presenting tonight because Sandy and Rick originally asked me to do this, and then I think they learned that if I was here by myself, they'd be running out the doors. They were a little nervous that somebody was going to give me a microphone tonight. So we are honored to be here to speak on behalf of Sandy and Rick. Let me tell you about this incredible pair. They're very special to me, personally and professionally. They are being inducted this evening for doing so many incredible things. The Brant Youth Volleyball Club was established by Sandy and Rick Beatum in 1998, many years ago. Look at Rick's hair, it shows. It's a competitive volleyball program. 25 years ago, they both had a dream, which due to hard work and determination, it is clear that this dream has become a reality. Starting with only a boys team, and eventually their favorite, very first girls team with a captain who is beautiful and loud and outspoken. And I will say that these two humans went above and beyond for their athletes. I came from a home of a single mom, and every single tournament that I went to, these two offered their blue van to drive me into every single weekend. So if they weren't deserving an award tonight, they were going to deserve some kind of an award for spending so much quality time with me growing up. and look how I turned out. These two constantly thought outside of the box and always wanted the most for all athletes and the entire community. Sandy and Rick, we want to remind you tonight why you are here and why you are so deserving of this incredible honor. Here are just a few of the particulars that these two coaches have brought to our volleyball community, and feel free as well. The brochures that are in front of you are wonderfully written. I actually wish that was my speech tonight, but feel free, there's more in there as well.
So Rick and Sandy have both coached elementary and high school volleyball for over 25 years. And if you've had the opportunity to have her as a coach, you could hear her sideline humming skills. They are unlike any other, for sure. Rick and Sandy have also taken 9 teams to the International Children's Games, which is the only competition for athletes aged 12 to 15, recognized by the International Olympic Committee. I was fortunate to be one of those teams and to represent Brantford Brant on the international stage. They have given and continue to give a full athletic experience to the club by bringing in fitness and nutrition experts for their athletes. And they have added many athlete development programs, including parent and athlete, junior spikes, senior spikes, rally ball, recreational house league, and beach volleyball programs, in addition to the competitive indoor programs, to allow all ages and developmental levels to participate and to learn and fall in love with the sport. They've also developed a BYVC family with their dedication, commitment, and vision. The club now has hundreds in the developmental programs and 9 competitive teams continuing to grow. One notable thing is that in 2015, Sandy and Rick played a crucial role in getting the beach volleyball courts in the Brant County at Green Lane Sports Complex, receiving a Trillium grant and partnering with the county. And this has allowed the sport for space for the general public to enjoy beyond just the scope of the Brant Youth Volleyball Club, because the Beatums have always just wanted the success for athletes and the promotion for sport and volleyball. Also speaking to their fostering of a family and their dedication within the Brant Youth Volleyball Club, they have developed over 30 coaches, including 9 of the current coaching staff, and again, continuing to grow due to their leadership. They've encouraged athletes to give back by volunteering for the developmental programs, and the alumni to be involved in all aspects of the sport, coaching, adult leagues, and officiating. This is not only to mention the countless hours of volunteering and managing of all the administration, advertising, and coaching themselves for many of those 25 years. To go over a couple of the accolades that have been recognized by our sporting organization as well, the Ontario Volleyball Association. Rick in 2013 received the Recognition Award, and then in 2019 received the Achievement Award. And Sandy received in 2019 the Diane Wood Special Achievement Award, and last year was inducted into the Ontario Volleyball Association Hall of Fame as well as a builder.
Not done, still here, I have a microphone. The impact is clear, you two, that you have made. The Brantford Youth Volleyball Club is growing at a rapid rate because of the path that you two have created for this sport here in Brant and beyond. Their dedication is and will always be unmatched. They have given everything to this community, and we cannot thank them enough. They have treated myself, Andrew, and I know many other athletes like family. We are so grateful to know them. We are so honored to be able to stand up here today and personally thank them, but also congratulate them on such a well-deserved award. Now, can you please drive me home after this?
I'd like to invite Sandy and Rick up.
First of all, we'd like to thank Abby and Andrew for their very kind words. It's been a pleasure to being able to coach them and to be able to see them develop as young adults, and they both give back. Abby runs our developmental program, and Andrew is our a competitive coach for many of our teams, but also Andrew is an OVA ref as well. So thank you for that kind words. We would like to thank the selection committee for honoring us with this recognition. It is an honor to be recognized with the other inductees.
Those people would include Tina Headley, Holly Motherall, Paula Seatack, John Gillis, Andrew, Nicole and McKenna Sharp, and Anna Carter and Athena Headley.
They sent the letters for the nomination, and those letters were very special to be able to read. We'd like to thank most of all is our family for teaching us to give back. My father, I'm lucky to follow in my father's footsteps. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Brant County last year for giving back in the builder category for hockey. Rick's family is very strong down in the Coburg area, being Shriners and through the Eastern Stars. But most of all, we want to thank our kids. We have 4 kids, and without their sacrifice for allowing us to coach, this couldn't have been done, because lots of times with Rick and I both coaching, we're out 4 nights a week and traveling to tournaments on the weekend. So we'd like to thank Brittany, Tyler, Josh, and Madison. As a teacher, I coached lots of sports, cross country, soccer, baseball, badminton. Then one time they asked me, would you coach a boys volleyball team? They need a coach, great group of athletes, would you do it? I said, sure. And this team was a really great group. We got to the finals, the Brant County finals. After that, we lost to Paris District, but after that, they wanted to play more volleyball. They loved it. So that's how our journey began. It began 26 years ago, coaching a group of young 14-year-old boys from St. George German School. I have to give a shout out to St. George German.
And Paris.
And then what we did was we joined after losing to Paris, we joined, it was a grade 7 and 8 program there, we joined with Paris and we became an OVA team. Now our team has grown. We have competitive teams from U13 to U18 teams, girls, and this year again, through Andrew's help, we did a U15 boys team. We have developmental programs for parent and child, junior and senior spikes, and we have a strong house league program, which has had thousands of kids go through the programs. We're lucky to have family and alumni come back to the club to coach and run our developmental programs. We couldn't do it without having those people give back. We've had great opportunities to travel with volleyball and competing in the International Children's Games, which is sanctioned by the IOC. These games are run by cities across the world for youth 12 to 15, giving them the opportunity to compete with the goals of promoting peace through sports. We've been lucky to go to Greece, Scotland, Thailand, South Korea, Amsterdam, Taiwan, Cleveland, San Francisco, yes, Andrew, Windsor, and Brittany, Hamilton. So our hope for volleyball in our community when we start was to instill the love of volleyball in our community and to make volleyball better in our school programs, and I think we've done that. The biggest compliment one can receive is when an athlete tells you that BYVC, which is Brant Youth Volleyball Club, feels like family because of the community we have established. A father just recently told me that his daughters, the lesson that we taught his daughters, he will never forget. We taught them more than just to play volleyball. We taught them to believe in themselves and their dreams, whether their dreams be to continue on in volleyball in university or college, or to always believe in themselves and believe that they can do it, and that life is a better place without negativity. So in ending, we would like to thank everyone for being on this journey with us and to continue to support us and to believe in the statement that the Ontario Volleyball Association sets out, that volleyball is for life, whether you play recreational or competitive. Thank you.
Good to see you on behalf of the Sports Hall. Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations. So these are plaques and some things from our mayors.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much.
And we need a picture at the end of the program too, please.
Yep. Okay.
Well, that was wonderful. Good job to the speakers. Abby, I didn't know you had it in you, but great job. We're on to our next inductee from the professional wrestling category. If you look to my left, which might be on my right, depending on where you're sitting, you'll see some big dudes. I had them come here tonight in case I have any difficulty leaving the premises. If I've hurt anybody's feelings, they're on retainer. I've got them till 9 o'clock, so butt out, the rest of you. I'm proud to introduce Scott, the Outlaw Chase, AKA Patrick Murphy. And I'm sure his mother used the word Patrick many, many times. This young athlete was a good East Ward lad growing up on Marlborough Street. He attended King George School, then Pauline Johnson. I learned that while in King George School, Renee Zareski was his grade 8 teacher, so I'm for sure know he got a good fitness program. I'm just glad I wasn't in that class. Like many kids at elementary schools in the 80s, there was a lot of imitation of their famous wrestlers. I know at the time I taught elementary at Briar Park School, and that was going on all the time, and I had to tell them, look, when I'm not on yard duty, get on the other side of that tree line, because you're off school property. Anyway, that was always much to the chagrin of other people on their yard duty. On a side note, I was privileged to be in attendance last Friday night to witness the effect that Patrick's crew has on his loyal followers. It was a wonderful evening with the appearance of Nick Wilde, AKA Little Ricky, who was like a cult-like following. He is also here this evening as he nominated Scott. Accomplishments: Grand Champion of Independent Pro Wrestling, the Great Lakes Champion, Brantford Heavyweight Champion. He was ranked 464th in the world by the 2010 edition of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Multiple and consistent contribution to the Boys and Girls Club over the years. Also part of a group that's a donor to a group I know of called Free Sport for Growth. He brought Hulk Hogan, Tony Atlas, and Hacksaw Jimmy Dugan to Brantford. He wrestled in 9 provinces, 2 territories, and 23 U.S. states. He was inducted to the Canadian Wrestling Sports Hall in 2022. I would like to welcome Scott to the stage.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to do what I've always done, and I'm going to call this on the fly, brother. So, first thing I would like to do is just say congratulations to all the other inductees. Very well done, and everybody should be very proud of that, as I know I'm very proud of this as well. So what I want to do is just talk about what wrestling means to me. Some of the things that I've went through as a kid, some of my favorite memories, and I'll keep it under 5 minutes as well. So I want to talk about March 31st, 1985, the very first WrestleMania. I went with my dad, Cecil, right there, and my Uncle Randy, and we went to the Kitchener Memorial Odd, and we seen the very first WrestleMania on closed circuit TV. Back before the days of pay-per-view. But for me, it was a life changer. I never looked at wrestling the same again, and I knew that I had to have something to do with wrestling for my life. Okay. And I did everything I could to make that dream come true. And it's been an amazing ride, and I'm sitting here thinking about it right now, and it's just making me kind of emotional. But I just can't even believe it. I look at some of the people out here. I want to just say we have Mike Flash, who is the greatest manager in Brantford wrestling history. I see the Brantford heavyweight champion, Pretty Ricky Wilde, in the far corner there, who is going to be the future representation of Brantford wrestling, who works very hard, and will hopefully, between the two of us, we'll be able to provide wrestling entertainment for generations to come. That's always been my goal, and when we used to go to the Maple Leaf Wrestling tapings at the Brantford Civic Center, I think everybody remembers those. Best time of my life, and we've seen so many talented people come through Brantford. When I think of the Hall of Recognition, I look at the last one that's been inducted was Killer Joe Christie in 1984, who was a legend to me as a kid. So to even be, whispered in the same sentence as him is something that just blows my mind. So I can't even continue. I just want to just say my lovely wife, beautiful wife Holly, my beautiful kids Isabel and Rowan, my mom, everybody that's come here to support me tonight. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the Sports Hall for giving me this great honor, and I'm very, very proud of it. And I will continue to do my best to provide wrestling for Brantford for the considerable future, and hopefully everybody will have great memories like I did as a child. So, thank you.
Well done. Congratulations, and welcome to the Sports Hall, my friend. There you go. Thank you. All right, take care of yourself. Thank you.
Garrett Riley. In a moment, I will invite Tom Foster to the stage, but first, Garrett, I observed you numerous times at Movati Gym working out with your trainer / close female friend, and was thoroughly impressed by your tenacity and your will to succeed. You, my friend, epitomize legendary Lou Holtz of NCAA football coaching fame's famous saying, "Ability is what you are capable of. Motivation determines what you do, but attitude determines how well you do it." Now that I've had my words, I'd like Tom Foster to come to speak about Garrett. Hi, Chandra.
First of all, I know I don't have to worry about the egg timer because he scrambled it a while back. And really, I got it down to 2.5 pages. You know how much I threw out? It is my honor to introduce sledge hockey Paralympian Garrett Riley, Brantford and Area Sports Hall of Recognition inductee, 2024. Born and raised in Brantford, he started his journey to today at the age of 3, where he learned to skate. The next year, he put on all the gear and started his hockey career as a member of Brantford Church Saints until the age of 9 or 10, where he did so a year ahead of, so he always played 1 year up. And I was a referee during that time, and I'll tell you, I know why he played a year up. His tenacity, his drive, and his ability to see the game ahead of all the others at his age group. He then went on and moved over to Brantford Minor, played for the 99ers, rep hockey, and did so until the age of 15, when he was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, the same cancer that Terry Fox had. Over the next year, Garrett went through chemotherapy and left knee reconstruction with an internal prosthetic inserted into his femur and tibia. This allowed him to return to the game he loved, playing hockey, which he did until 2012, when he hung up his skates. He started his sledge hockey career during the 2016-2017 season, playing for Hamilton. He then moved on to London, where he also made Team Ontario during the 2017 and 18 season. On October 27, 2017, another setback, where he had his leg amputated at the knee and 3 days later surgery for an open artery. He was back in the gym within a week and back on the ice with Team London and Team Ontario by that December. 2018 was a great year, winning the league championship with London and a bronze medal with Team Ontario at the Nationals. Following the season, he received an invitation to the National Team Development Camp and made the national team. He then played for the national team, where they won silver in his first tournament and silver at the Worlds in Czechia, which at the time was known as the Czech Republic. Between the 2018-19 season and the 21-22 seasons, Garrett went through multiple surgeries, with 3 of those surgeries under 2 months before the national team selection camp for the upcoming 21-22 season, and potentially a spot on the Paralympic team, which he made on September 10th, 2021. 2 months later, on October 29th, just 2 months after making the team and 127 days before the start of the Paralympics in Beijing, China, at a training camp in St. Louis, in his first exhibition game, 2 shifts in, another player from the opposite team, the US team, collides with Garrett and shatters his right leg. He then received surgery for a compound fracture to his tibia and fibula. After 8 hours of surgery to install a metal rod, he was walking the next day. 2.5 weeks in hospital, of which a week was in the US, flown home on a private jet, a week and a half in a hospital here in Canada, and he was back in the gym on November 20th. He went to Calgary for off-ice training December 12th to the 17th of that year, and was back on the ice December 20th. He then moved to Calgary January 5th, 2022, so that he could be closer to his doctors and his coaches for his comeback. On February 7th, 2022, he was named to the Canadian Paralympic team. February 25th, left for Beijing, China. March 11th, scored his first goal against Korea. He ended the tournament with 3 points. And on March 13th, 2022, he and his teammates won a Paralympic silver medal. He came home on March 14th, and here he is today, after persevering through all of those challenges. Garrett Riley, inductee into the Brantford and area Sports Hall of Recognition.
So I definitely can't follow half of what these people have said. This is why I have notes. I'm not allowed a microphone either, so I just want to Tom, thank you so much for introducing me. I really appreciate it. This is definitely something that I never thought was ever in my future of being in sports and sorry, I'm just really nervous. I just never thought that being recognized this big in my community and my sport was ever possible for me. So I'm kind of going off my notes a little bit, which I hope that's okay. But I just want to say that I really appreciate everybody coming out for me. I can't thank everybody enough. It just I'm not even gonna read these, honestly. I'm just gonna thank everybody. I really appreciate everybody so much for coming out and just everybody, for what everybody has done for me. I've been through my ups and downs for everything. It's been a real challenge, but I've always found those people who have helped me to get to where I need to be and to help me strive to be the person that I am today. And so that's all I can do. And for the people that have been there for me, they know who they are. And I have 3 tables here of amazing people who have always been there for me. And then obviously all these other tables here that are here for me as well. I have these 3 amazing kids who I just can come home to and be myself, play video games with them, and just be idiots with, kind of thing, you know what I mean? You just be yourself with and just kind of a little bit forget about the crazy stuff that happens outside of in the world. And coming home to these people is my favorite. So I really appreciate everybody tonight, and I'm sorry that I didn't go on script, but honestly, thank you very much to everybody who's here tonight and for all of the support, and to the Sports Council, to Rick and Josie. I'm not sure where you're sitting right now, back there. I thank you so much. This is all because of you guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are very amazing people. To these tables, I really appreciate all your guys' support. Thank you guys so much.
Now that was inspiring. Garrett, great job, everything you've done in life, and obviously it takes a community to support you, and it was great that you got to thank everybody as well. I'd like to invite Paul Bartle to the stage.
Hello, it's my honor on behalf of the inducted members to welcome the class of 2024 to the Brantford and Area Sports Hall recognition. So on behalf of the inducted members, our new members, I'd like to welcome Henry Bridges Yates and the family, Rick and Sandy Bednam, Patrick, and Garrett, who I met last year at the they presented you with the Tomlin Trophy, so it was an honor. So welcome on behalf, and congratulations to each and every one of you. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Kim Carpenter, the Vice Chair of the Sports Hall Executive, and also the proud mother of Aaron Carpenter, 2018 inductee, to the podium.
Hi, everyone. It's well known that volunteers are the heartbeat of any community. And at this time, we'd like to thank our volunteers on the Sports Hall Committee who have recently retired from the executive. Their willingness to give their time and their service is greatly appreciated. New volunteers in our organization are also greatly appreciated. Unfortunately, we had 3 members retire this year: Mike Charlton, Jeff Milson, Jason Nagy. None of those gentlemen are here tonight. We have some plaques for them that we will make sure that they get, but if we could just give a round of applause to those.
I'd like to make some thank yous now. We'd like to thank the Sports Hall Committee and staff for their dedication and commitment to the Sports Hall. The names of those folks are listed in the program. I'd like to thank Rogers TV for filming tonight's induction ceremonies, and hopefully they can fix some of the faux pas. Thanks to Dean Ellis, the official photographer. Thanks to Tiana Clark and her staff from the Best Western. I'd like to thank our ongoing sponsors, the Cowan Foundation, Empire Communities, Ball Construction, Roger and Edith Davis Foundation, Tournament Capital of Ontario, Brant Mutual Insurance Company, Brant Hotel Association, J.H. Young Jewelers, Neil and Jean Young and family. Now I'd like to invite Bob McGeehan to the stage. Is that Roy's light song you're working?
Stick it back in.
Okay.
See if it'll stay there. Is that working? Test. Okay. Thank you, Ross. I have a couple of announcements I'd like to make tonight. And if you bear with me, please, I just wanted to make sure I get these correct. So I just wanted to, again, I'll go back and just invite you to attend the Sports Hall. Take a look at some of our displays. If you have an opportunity there, certainly look at the new inductees and the artifacts that we will have there in the next little while. I would encourage you to go and take a look and enjoy the opportunity to see who our inductees have been over the years. The Sports Hall has been inducting people for the last 40 years. This is our 40th year of carrying on inducting people. So, yes, thank you. So we encourage you to stop by and take a look. If you're not capable of doing that, please take a look at the website. There is a Brantford and area sports hall website that you can take a look and see some of the displays we have there as well. And the video of tonight and the video of past induction ceremonies is also there and available. Every year, we are always looking for applications for inductees and honorees. This year is no exception. We are requesting that if you know of an athlete or a team or an individual who you feel could or should be inducted or honored on behalf of the community, please put an application together. There is an application form available on our website, and those applications need to be in to us no later than September the 1st of this year. Our selection committee then meets through the fall and makes a decision, and normally in December is when we finalize things. So that's our process and normal timelines. If anyone is interested, this evening we also have some books that are available for purchase if you're interested. Ross Ensliff is an author, in case people didn't know, besides being a teacher. Ross has been putting some information together the last couple of years with respect to the sporting community in Brantford and Brant County. And Ross's books are available at the back. My lovely wife is sitting back there in the back corner. If you're interested afterwards, please go back and have a chat and take a look. As well, I believe some of the Yates books are available back there, and we would encourage you to take a look. There's a very interesting, that book is very interesting. I've looked at it. It has a lot of history of the Yates family, not only within Brantford, but also within the community of Ontario, and it speaks to the history of that family and how they developed over the years. So if you're interested in that, those books are available. Before I close, I'm not going to take too much time. There are 4 people that I personally want to thank. I believe this is probably going to be my last year as chair of the committee, and it's my honor and privilege to have worked with these people over the last 5 years, and I would like to thank them personally for some of the work they have done on your behalf and our behalf. And the first person I want to thank is Lisa Campbell. Lisa is our secretary. She keeps me on the straight and narrow. I know she gets frustrated with me asking her for things, but she sends them to me 5 or 6 weeks later. I ask them for them again. But Lisa, I want to thank you for what you do. I want to thank you for doing our displays here. So Lisa, if you would come up here, please, I'd just like to give you something on my behalf, on our behalf, and thank you for what you do. Thank you, Lisa. The other person I want to sort of acknowledge and thank is Trudy Ion. Trudy is the chair of this induction committee, and on behalf of all of you and all of us at the executive level, Trudy puts this committee, or puts this ceremony together every year, and this year she's done an exceptionally great job. And Trudy, I'd like you to come forward, please, and accept this on my behalf.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trudy. The other person I'm really pleased to be able to bring up is we have a new person working with us this year from the city who has helped put together this event. And Asha Goldbot, if you come up, Asha, please. I don't know where you are. You're in the room someplace. Asha, it's been great working with you. I appreciate what you've done here. Thank you. The last one, I'm just going to set this aside because I think you can hear me. The last one is our MC, our Master of Ceremonies. Ross has been doing this for now 8 or 9 years, and as usual, he keeps us on track. He comes in with little jokes and humor once in a while, and the egg thing was great today, Ross. I appreciated that. Ross, would you come up here and just accept this on behalf of our executive? There's one more thing I'd like to bring forward, and if you read the remarks I have put in the program tonight, there's a paragraph in there regarding an Olympic, Paralympic, and Special Olympic display. We at the Sports Hall have been trying to put together a display for the last number of years to recognize the Olympians, the Paralympians, and the Special Olympians from within our 4 communities. The 4 communities are the 2 First Nations, the county, and the city. We have put together a listing from 1900 to date, and we have documented over 40 people who we would like to recognize and honor. The time has now come for us to put that display together, so that's something we would like to add to the sports hall. As time progresses, we will continue to add Olympians, Paralympians, and Special Olympians to that plaque. For example, this year, I just read today, there's going to be a new Olympian from Brantford who's now involved, and her name is Clara Scheffel. She's just been named to the Canadian team for the artistic swimming team. And she's going to the Olympics in France in the next 4 or 5 weeks. So well done, Clara. We'd like to recognize all our Olympians. That about does it for me. So Ross, the podium is yours.
Just before I carry on the note of Special Olympians, Brantford's own Richie Ward made the Special Olympics team for Sochi, but because of COVID, Sochi was canceled for him, but he has won very many national and provincial championships, and we're very proud of the people that play at Walter Gretzky of Richie. Anyway. Tout fini. God bless you all.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Hey folks, it's me, Giovanni Petiti, the host of Not Tonight. It's the new late night talk show right here on Rogers TV. We got fabulous guests, a lot of laughs. It's just like the Jimmy Kimmel Show. If you order the Jimmy Kimmel Show on Wish. So join me Sunday at 10 o'clock right here on Rogers TV. Nice.
Waterloo Regional Police are continuing to investigate an armed robbery at Fairview Park Mall in Kitchener. On May 18th at approximately 5 p.m., police responded to reports of a jewelry store robbery at Fairview Park Mall. 4 unknown masked males entered a business armed with hammers and a handgun. The suspects smashed display cases and stole merchandise. Suspects discharged a noxious substance inside the mall, then fled the area. Police would like to identify and speak to the individuals pictured in connection to this incident. The investigation is ongoing by WRPS's robbery team. Leave a tip with Crime Stoppers in one of 3 convenient ways: the toll-free number of 1-800-222-TIPS, a secure anonymous tip online at waterloocrimestoppers.com, or by mobile phone at p3tips.com.
When we were talking about the name, some people were even worried it was maybe too strong. She is your neighbor. What about she could be your neighbor? It's not just that it could be happening to your neighbor, it is happening. People don't talk about domestic violence. They don't talk about women's shelters. You kind of knew it happened or these things existed, but it just was kind of under the radar.
A lot of people are still existing kind of in that shame and stigma that has surrounded domestic violence for so long.
Are you ready?
Yes. Coming forward and telling your story is very intimidating. This is the scariest thing that's ever happened to them. It's the most intense thing that's ever happened to them, and one of the bravest things that you can do.
Okay, Colette, I'd like you to look right here at me. All right.
Back in 1997, I was almost murdered by my ex-boyfriend. I kicked him out of my house after 3 months of living with me, and he came back 7 months later and tried to kill me. He called that night to tell me he was coming to retrieve his things. At 11:40, he kicked my door down. I remember trying to get to the knife drawer before him. He took the biggest knife in the drawer and turned me around and slit my throat. I ran to my parents' house. I didn't make it there. He dragged me back, and he stabbed me 37 times. Police came. I was rescued, taken to the hospital, and after that was the trial. He got 9 years for attempted murder, 2 years for forcible confinement. He went to prison, and I tried to get on with my life. When you suffer trauma like I suffered, you already carry so much shame, and you feel like people don't want to hear it. They say it's been long enough now, keep going, forget about it. Society makes you feel like you've done something wrong because you didn't leave early enough or you didn't kick them out early enough. I never saw those signs because I didn't understand that, you know? When he would call me 20 times a day, I thought he was calling because he loved me. The one thing that I would have needed would have been a person like me to talk to.
I think there could be a misconception with folks thinking that if it's that bad, why are women not leaving? If there's bruises, that is what violence looks like, but essentially violence has many different forms.
We kind of see a mix of all types of people. At any time, we're either at capacity or very close to capacity, and about half of our residents at all times are children. There's no really one type of woman that this is happening to.
Even if you see news stories about domestic violence, like the standard stock image is always the same thing. It's usually like a woman leaning against a wall, her face in her hands, upset, you know, just depicting someone who's really broken. I think sometimes it's just too much to take, so it would make people turn away. We need people to feel like, oh, this is something I want to be on board with. This is something I care about. This is something I'm proud to talk about supporting.
Domestic violence has been about shame and hiding and secrecy, but it's just amazing, the strength of the people that live here and some of the stories that I've heard of. It felt like something that really I had to do, like that we had to do, that we had to share these stories to really change the narrative. And then we kind of talked about how could we do this? How could we share photos and show people in a different light?
We really wanted to do a campaign where people talked about domestic violence, understood what it was, and understood kind of how close to home it was.
They were talking about what she is. Like she's a mom, she's a sister. She's not just, a victim. She could be anybody.
We came up with the slogan, "She is your neighbor." We thought that really kind of represented what we were trying to get at. It's happening in your neighborhood, kind of whether you like it or not, and it's something we need to recognize and talk about. I think the podcast really did kind of bring it to life because people had the chance to tell their own story. You were brought right into it.
there are so many different aspects of these survivors that are so strong and so brave and so courageous, and we wanted to show them like that.
Could you start by sharing a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a child of domestic violence, we'll put it that way. That's really intergenerational trauma if we debunk it in a conversation.
I went back the day following. It was going to change, and I believed it.
You can cover your bruises, but you can't cover the way you feel.
And that's how insidious abuse is. It starts off with these underhanded compliments.
We had launched 2 episodes of the podcast initially at the same time. We immediately saw downloads skyrocket. We had survivors reaching out to us almost immediately saying that they had never recognized themselves as a survivor until they heard what had happened to them through the voices of other people.
They would say, you know, this was so empowering for me, and I felt free that I could finally share my story.
When they take it back and share their story and their experiences in their own words, then it's theirs and it's their power. It's not somebody else's over them.
I think that's what took so long for me to get better, is because I couldn't share my story with anyone. I thought I was the only one. After 20-some years, I thought I was the only one that suffered this because I didn't hear of anybody else. I started sharing my story, and for the first time, I felt like I was being heard.
You know, people say that when there's awareness, then action can follow. More people are talking about it, and awareness is growing. That's kind of the next step. We need to go into action.
It's been very, very scary for me, but I want people to look back and say, because of you, I never gave up. Because of you, I love myself more. And because of you, I asked for help. I know now that this is my mission and this is my purpose.
The short-term goal at the Accelerator Center is to pivot from being an organization that's focused on entrepreneurs in Waterloo, as opposed to being an organization that's focused on building Waterloo. A combination of convenience, community, and access to amenities is what drew me to Waterloo. Co-working spaces that allow you to have collisions with other people who have an impact on your work life. I love the idea of being in a community that has diversity, not just of gender and race, but of thoughts and different walks of life coming together. And I think Waterloo has those ingredients. The foundation of the definition of sustainability comes from a value system that is very close to my heart, and that is an adage in Sanskrit from one of the classical texts in India. And it says, you come empty-handed and you will leave empty-handed. What you do in between is what matters. And I think Waterloo is a very good reflection of the concept of barn building when multiple stakeholders come together, private machinery being leveraged and utilized by all on one side, and on the other side, maximizing stakeholder returns. I look at myself as an immigrant, and what's exciting about that is how do we as a community find a balance between integrating immigrants into the country and to the region while maintaining the balance of what do we stand for as a community? What is our identity? Do we let go and erode some of the values in our identity as we integrate immigrants and imbibe those new values, and at the same time maintain the values that we are proud of? I think it's a combination of integration of immigrants into the community and cherishing the values that we stand for that makes it exciting as I look forward.
Aging Well brings you conversations with experts to help empower your golden years with enthusiasm and optimism. Don't miss Aging Well with Angela and Alice Liu, Thursdays at 7:30 p.m.
I would say Kitchener-Waterloo region, like the people is what stands out for me. Like the people are just so supportive. There was just an amazing community support, and I know a lot of my fellow teammates admired the support that I received because it's not something that happens in every community. I was pretty fortunate in that sense. I have a teammate, she's competing at the Pan Am Games. She was one of my training partners, in the lead up to both Olympics. I actually kind of pushed her to keep going and to try, and now she's at the Games. She's one fight away from qualifying, and being a role model for someone else I think is important, but also having role models. Now there are so many women that are dominating in male-dominated worlds, whether it's sport or business. I think it's important for those people to provide mentorship to the next generation coming up, and that's something that I've always strived to do and something that I actually really, truly enjoy. I think the community really loves sport. We obviously are a hockey-centered town as well with the Kitchener Rangers, but I've seen it in boxing too. Anytime we have competitions here, it is completely sold out. People come out, they support. We have amazing venues in town as well, training facilities. I think we have everything you need, and we're also kind of in a really great location. We're growing so fast, and I think it's going to continue to do that just because of our proximity to some of these major cities like Toronto. I guess we're going to have a bigger population, but I think there's also going to be some exciting new places that are going to develop from that. It's really great to have a lot of different ideas and different people come together, and I think that's where you really create a unique environment, and I think we're going to have that here in Waterloo Region.
David here, reminding you that Lions TV Bingo is right here on Rogers TV. We've got a new look, a new prize board. We actually have a full card game of $3,500. Indeed, biggest we've ever had. See you soon.
Waterloo Region is a great place to bring your conference, your sporting event, and so on. But there's so many amenities within the region, things to do. If you're bringing family members with you while you're at the conference, they can go check out a market, go check out some of our tourist attractions. We have great amenities in terms of sports and culture. And so there's so much to do here. And the other part that's really wonderful is not only do we have an international airport, but we're not that far from Toronto. Really, it provides an easy way for people from around the world to come here for their events. One of the things that I think has been very influential in our community has been the grassroots community organizations that have been part of our sustainability story. I think about groups like Reap Green Solutions, groups like Sustainability Waterloo Region, and others. All of these groups have come together with our area municipalities, with business partners, with our academic institutions, and recognizing it was a great opportunity for us to take an all-of-community approach to tackle this. In so many ways, we are leaders in the country in terms of that space, and quite frankly, globally. We're an innovative community, one that really is not sort of resting on its laurels, but always looking how we can make ourselves better. And I think the other thing that we'd like to do is aspire